I've been on a long grind.
Yes, people. Welcome to another episode of FS on Cut. I'm your host, Daniel. I'm here with my fellow FS brother, Mike. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Christmas has been lovely with all the food in it, so I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm stuffed. I don't know how I made it to this chair. The amount of food I ate over Christmas, my belly. It's good that the fans can't see it, but yeah, I'm doing well. And Dan, how are you doing? Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm good, guys. I'm doing well. I'm doing, a heck of a lot better than the last time I was on this podcast, for sure. And I want to just kind of say on the Christmas point, I'm feeling the same as you. Christmas is on the 25th. It's now the 27th. But I got to say, I don't recall a time where I haven't been full up for the last 2 days.
Nah, that's fair enough. And I just want to say welcome to our other guest, Jide. Jide, how are you doing?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, sorry for being so late. Completely slipped my mind, man. So sorry.
Nah, that's all good. That's all good. After Arsenal's 3-1 victory,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're still celebrating.
Oh, man.
But I feel like there's no better place to start than the Arsenal versus Chelsea game. Jide, going into that game, me personally, I was very shocked that you guys won. I was very shocked that you guys absolutely dominated Chelsea.
Yeah.
Your form has been well documented this season. I'm not going to go into that. But what was your thoughts on the game today? Yesterday, rather.
Yesterday. I was shocked. Like, I was just as shocked as you. I was going into that game expecting us to lose. Obviously, I thought Lampard, he's not great himself, but we've drawn. We've basically had 1 point in like 7 games or something ridiculous like that. Completely bereft of confidence. Our supposed best player is injured. We have our front line. I was looking at him thinking, you know what? I've been saying I wanted ESR to play, but this isn't a game that I want the Haaland boys to be playing. Like, I don't just want to. This is desperation by Arteta. So I just thought, you know what? He's gonna lose this game. He's gonna get sacked in the morning. It is what it is. But the boys pulled it out. Listen, I was smiling throughout that game, man. I've not been happy as an Arsenal fan in such a long time. But seeing our youngsters play the way they played, ESR finding pockets, I'm like, this is what we've been looking for. I do not want to see Pepe on that pitch ever again. I do not want to see Willian on that pitch ever again. Ever again. It should be absolute criminal. If Arteta wants to keep his job, he knows what to do now. Because the way them boys were just linking up, the 1-2s, the turning. Obviously, he didn't get it right all the time, ESR. He did make some mistakes, but that's nitpicking because for most of it, he did what he had to do. He gave us what we wanted. And, man, I was just... Even Xhaka. Xhaka, again, is well documented. I'm not a fan of his, but, boy, that goal... I was like, hey, this boy wants to get back in my good graces, man. Listen, I'm so happy, man. I just don't know what to say. I'm so happy, bro.
And before I get on to Daniel and Mike, I just want to ask you, even though he said that he meant it, do you think Saka meant that third goal?
Of course he didn't mean it, but listen, when you're a star boy, not like these other like plastic star boys, not these guys that are...
Which plastics?
Who are you referring to?
I'm not going to name names.
Name names.
My star boy does his talking on the pitch. He doesn't do it in a hotel, innit? That's what I'm saying, innit? My star boy.
So that's where we're going.
My star boy does his talking on the pitch, innit?
Okay.
So, listen, you might call it luck, but it's divine intervention. That's what I'm saying, man.
Well, Mike, what do you think about Arsenal's performance? It's throughout our shows, me and you have been getting on to Arteta, getting on to Arsenal, but this weekend they shut us up. They were fantastic, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, though, hasn't it? They've been waiting for this. Arsenal fans have been suffering. It's bad enough they can't go to stadiums, which I think is possibly a good thing because it's more like a library there. But no, they needed that W. They needed that W because the form they were in was wretched, man. Worst start for 45 years. Arteta didn't look like he had a clue. The players weren't performing. Bar Saka, to be honest, with effort more than anything else. So they needed everyone to stand up and have a performance. Chelsea, kind of contributed towards that themselves. That's not taken away from Arsenal, but Chelsea were bad. But them being bad doesn't mean Arsenal were not good. Arsenal were good, and that's why they won the game. Quality free kick from Xhaka. He needed that big time. He's not going to do anything to repair his history of Arsenal fans, but in terms of a performance, after getting sent off his previous performance, or previous game rather, he had to come back with a bang, and he banged one in really well, and he was quite short for the rest of the game. So, yeah, so it's a much needed W. They're closer. They're closer. They're further away from Burnley now, which is good. So let's see what the next step is for Arsenal, innit? You know, let's see what Starboy can do.
Well, Dan, off air, we're talking about how Arsenal were 9 points off top 4. Do you think this win can be a turning point in the season to escape the relegation battle and put the hat in the top 4 race?
Look, it was just last week, wasn't it, where Big Sam said that Arsenal aren't too big for a relegation battle. Look, they're not going to get relegated. That's just banter. That's just banter, right? This is a team with a lot of good players. And I think what's interesting to me was looking at that lineup. It's unrecognizable to the Arsenal that's been lining up for the last few weeks. And for whatever reason, it worked. I like the likes of Saka. I mean, I like the likes of Martinelli. I like the likes of them young players coming in there and doing well. I think more than anything, they probably have that hunger as well. You know, I think probably a lot of people thought that Arsenal didn't have that squad depth, but they're kind of showing it now. Look, it could be a turning point, but Arteta's got work to do in January because they are some way off, I think, Liverpool. I think they're some way off Leicester at the moment as well. And just, I think even you'd probably say some way off Tottenham in the sense that they don't have a couple of star players that are performing right now. You know, the Aubameyangs, the Lacazettes, they need to step up. But if that happens, then who's to say they can't challenge? But from where I'm standing at the moment, just they got to build off that Chelsea performance. Get those young players, playing together. Get that team chemistry going. That's what I say.
Yeah, I fully agree, especially with playing the young players. Jide, at the start of the game, when the interviewers were asking Arteta about starting the young players, he kind of gave an impression that, well, to me at least, that the young players were only playing because Willian was in contact with somebody that had COVID or was feeling ill. Do you feel like when the likes of Willian come back, Aubameyang, Nketiah, do you think that they'll go straight back into the team, or do you think Arteta will persist with the likes of Martinelli, Saka, ESR?
Well, if he knows what's good for him, it will persist with the youngsters. If he knows what's good for him. But the reality is, he is correct. He didn't play those boys because he wanted to. He played it because he was desperate. He didn't have Aubameyang. He didn't Willian. Like, he's been trusting Willian all season, and Willian's been awful all season. That's his signing. That's his man. So he's obviously gonna play him. So he was forced. His hands were forced. But now, what I hope has happened is he sees, okay, we're more fluid with these boys. Where they lack in know-how, in veteran know-how, they have in effort and the ability to actually play and actually run in behind. We've missed that. Teams are scared of Martinelli. That creates space. Creating space for people like ESR to operate in. Before, when it was Pepe and Willian, there was the threat in behind wasn't there. There was no one running. That run wasn't happening. So because of that, you could push up and push onto our midfielders, which puts pressure on Xhaka, and we know Xhaka's not press resistance. So now you have a cascading issue, like it's just from one issue to the other, starting from the front. But now, if you not bring back the old guard who have these issues, you're just basically going to compile the pressure back on the midfield, back on Xhaka, and it's just not going to work. So if I'm Arteta, I would look at this and say, okay, you know what I need to do? I can't start Willian or I can't start Pepe. One of them has to go. You have to give up one of them. And then you have to find a way to integrate ESR into our team, into our starting lineup, or go into the January transfer window and actually buy a quality attacking midfielder, someone that's very clever at finding pockets and is very, very clever at fashioning chances for himself or for a teammate. You do that, we're going to be fine. But if he goes back to his old ways, then we're fucked.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, and especially with Pepe. Like when Pepe came on, um, I forgot that he was on the pitch because he just didn't do anything. He had no intensity. He wasn't helping out his fullback, and that's where Chelsea got most of their chances. Dan, when you were on the show last, we were talking about the flops of the season, and Pepe was one player that we said was a flop, and we said that let's see what he can do this season. But this season, he hasn't been too good. So, what do you what?
Hold on. You said it.
Yeah.
Take accountability for your words. Don't say we. It was you.
But you man agreed. You man agreed and co-signed.
I sat here in silence.
Nah, don't worry.
I may have agreed, but I didn't say anything.
Don't worry. Production will edit you man co-signing when this goes on YouTube. But Dan, do you think Pepe can come good, or do you think his career at Arsenal is over? Because me personally, when I saw Saka playing right wing, I just think there's no need for Pepe at Arsenal.
Yo, look, Saka's got energy, and that's something Arsenal need right now. They need energy because for whatever reason, tactically, I'm not quite sure what Arteta is trying to do. Now, I think one of my points about why say Arsenal and Chelsea aren't doing so well this season is because I'm not quite sure they buy for their system. I'm not quite sure they have a long-term plan, of we're going to play this way. This is the player we need. This is the guy that's going to come in and do this job. And I think that's the issue with the whole Pepe signing. Pepe may go on and do well elsewhere. We've seen that with the likes of Lukaku, who left United, right? But for him to work at Arsenal, I think Arteta needs to take a look at him and think, what is it I actually want this guy to do, right? Like Aubameyang, they had him out on the left wing, but he's a goal scorer. He needs to be up front. That's just in my eyes, right? Arteta needs to know. He needs to have a plan for the rest of the season. That's what I'm trying to say. And if that's Emile Smith, at number 10, doing the Ozil role, so to speak, and Saka out on the right wing, doing up energy, creating space for himself, then it's got to be that. But from where I'm standing, I don't know how how Pepe gets back in that team. I'm not sure what he's going to do to kind of improve things for Arsenal from here on.
To add to that, Daniel, jokes aside, but I did agree with Daniel. But the reason I agree with Daniel more so at that time when we're talking about flops is because Emery didn't want him. He wanted Zaha. So he's really coming to Arsenal without a plan in general from a coach that was there previously when he first came. So when another coach comes in and the idea is I didn't really want the player from the first coach, how does Arteta bed him in? Of course, as a new coach, you find your ways to get people involved and all that. But then he signed Willian in the summer. So then we don't like Willian, but then you have to think, he plays in this position. Is he looking at him and saying, I just don't trust this guy right now and it's going to be an embedding period still? Or does he look at him and say, I can play in Europa League games as I do, and I give you a Premier League game, you got sent off, I can't trust you, I don't want to see you again. Either way, he's in trouble. And me personally, I think it's better that Arsenal cut their losses and just get him gone, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he needs to bounce, honestly speaking. Like, when I watch him play, I'm just thinking he's not serious. He has absolutely no intensity in his play. He just wants the ball at feet. He thinks he's playing out goals with his boys. So, yeah, I think Arsenal just need to get rid of him. But, Dan, I'm happy you mentioned a goal scorer playing out wide because that's what Chelsea are doing with Timo Werner. And Chelsea, we'd be talking about how good Arsenal were, but Chelsea were absolutely diabolical on Saturday. I think it was 40 seconds in, Martinelli had a chance. And from there on in, Chelsea did not look good at all, apart from the last 5 minutes. Jide, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts on Chelsea's performance yesterday, this season, and Frank Lampard? Because I think he needs to be looked at.
220 million. That's what I've got to say. 222 million. We're saying Arsenal have bad transfer policy, as in we don't have our long-term and our short-term plans aligned, which is true. But Chelsea, for me, it's even worse. So they got, I don't know, because I'm not a Chelsea fan, so I don't know how their system is. If maybe there's a director of football, then I don't know how that is done. But essentially, it seemed like to me, Frank got the checkbook. It was showing a couple players, and he said, yeah, that's fine. He basically said yes to all of them. Now, Kai Havertz, I don't know what what is he on? Is this his level? Because when he first came and he played, he looked good. Like, he's got good legs. He can run with the ball, can carry the ball. I was thinking, oh yeah, this guy's athletic in midfield. He can drive Chelsea, And then Timo Werner, rapid. Like, you're thinking, this boy, if he gets an opportunity on his last man, he's gonna destroy you. I don't know. And from last season, when they had Pulisic balling out, you have Chelsea had so much promise. And what has transpired this season has just been absolutely dreadful. And the signs were from last season, like the FA Cup final or the big games Frank Lampard was in, and his strategy was vibes and inshallah. That's his strategy. So if you have a manager like that who's not tactically astute, he doesn't make the correct changes, he doesn't set his team up to win. Like, this guy was playing Kante in weird positions. I'm like, bro, do you know how to use your best players? So, yes, the game yesterday didn't surprise me. Like, again, I'm not here to come and say I thought we was going to win. I expected us to lose. But I knew Chelsea were not going to play well. I knew this isn't going to be like a Man City outplaying us or Liverpool playing us off the park. I just thought it was going to be a dirty, scrappy, maybe Timo Werner gets away and scores a shit goal or Giroud header or something like that. But, man, they were so bad. And Lampard didn't make the correct changes. He didn't know what to do. Timo Werner didn't know what to do. Their best chance for me was the free kick from Mount, where he hit the post. Yeah. That was, and it was just like, how can that be your best chance, really and truly? Like, come on. You have Tammy Abraham dribbling into players. That's your striker. That's the guy that's supposed to take you to the promised land. I'm sorry, like, Chelsea are in trouble, and Lampard, for me, he understands the kind of man the owner is. So I don't see him lasting. I keep saying I want Arteta out, but listen, I do not see Lampard lasting at all.
Yeah, I don't see him lasting till the end of the season. Like you said, 222 million, and they don't look like they're challenging for the title. You can't spend 222 million and not challenge for the title. Dan, when you were talking about Arsenal and the transfer strategy, you also mentioned Chelsea, how they don't have a transfer strategy. What do you think of how they went about signing players? Because you have Werner playing out wide, but people saying he's not a winger. You have Havertz playing out wide or a midfield, but people are saying he's not a midfielder or a winger. So do you think Lampard just went for vibes and inshallah, as JJ said, or do you think they actually have a plan?
I love that saying, man.
This guy said vibes and inshallah. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's the thing, right? I'm not saying they don't have a transfer strategy, yeah? Their transfer strategy was catch up. We ain't been able to sign anybody for a couple of years. Let's catch up, yeah? But the thing is, Havertz is... I'm making the same mistake now by even saying it, but Havertz is probably a number 10. He's probably your main creator. Yeah, you've got a striker up there. Havertz is going to be setting him up, but like he's on the bench so many games, and I don't know what you want him to do off the bench. First of all, secondly, Chelsea play 4-3-3. I think most of the time, and they don't seem to have any room for creativity. Thirdly, why do you need to sign Ziyech and Havertz? I don't understand that. And then you sign these two creative players, and then Timo Werner's playing on the left wing. So I don't quite know what they're trying to do. But even you mentioned Tammy Abraham, he's playing up front. What you need with a striker like that is service, and he scores when Hudson-Odoi comes on and puts a ball into the box for him. So they almost play this like tight way, but Lampard doesn't have what Sarri had. Lampard doesn't have what Conte had. Lampard doesn't have what Mourinho had. I don't think he has a way of playing like they did. And that's kind of reflected in the transfer policy. And now, essentially, it's coming back to bite them a bit. I tell you what, if Conte came into that team to manage them again, he'd be doing a better job. But yeah, it's partly that you need a way of playing, you need a strategy, and I don't see that from Chelsea. And yeah, Timo Werner should not be out on the left wing. It's that system was way too narrow for them, way too narrow.
Yeah.
Mike, before I get on to you, let me just introduce our next guest, who's a Chelsea fan, and I'll just give him an opportunity to defend his club.
What you might say? I feel good.
Yes,
Yeah, we're
Daniel.
good.
Yes.
Dan, how
How
you
many
doing?
Daniels have you got in here, man?
Yeah, that's true. We have two Daniels. Yeah,
That's the first, man.
That's way too many Daniels. But Daniel, how are you doing? Daniel B.
I mean, as you can imagine, it's not really a great time in the Chelsea fan base, but I mean, we move in it. I mean, it just goes to show how volatile the league is, man. Everyone's dropped points around us. Like, really and truly, we shouldn't be as close as we are to everyone around us. But boy, this league has been too topsy-turvy, man, for my liking.
Yeah, I fully agree. I just wanted to get your opinions on this weekend and just Chelsea's season as a whole and Frank Lampard, because I don't know if you were listening. We haven't been impressed with Chelsea this season. We haven't been impressed with Lampard. So we just wanted to get your opinion since you're the actual Chelsea fan.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, I obviously heard what the other Daniel was saying about Chelsea. And look, so many people have their different perceptions on how Chelsea should be playing, what the right system is. At the end of the day, look, we don't know what the right system is because we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen a consistent run of games where we've been confident. I told people that the way we currently play, especially during that run, if you compare what was happening last season and what was happening this season, we're seeing the same thing happen. We went on a run last year. We beat the teams we should have beat last year when we were going on that run. We went on a run this year. We beat the teams that we should have been beaten when we went on the run this year. But then we went through a patch where we wanted to see if this team could rise to the occasion in certain matches, and we weren't doing that. The same thing's happening this year. And the problem is that I'm having with Lampard is I'm gonna do the, just to make it quick in it. I don't want to waffle on too much because I've spoken about Chelsea all weekend, as you can imagine. But there's two sides to it. The criticism of Frank Lampard for me is that when you're an inexperienced coach, and Kojo knows this because I said this on another channel, what I expect you to do is 1 to 11, just pick the best players in each position, keep them in their best position, and make it simple for yourself. When you have wingers in the team, play the wingers who are wingers. When you have strikers in the team, play your strikers who are strikers. When you have a cam in the team, play your cam. When you have a centre mid, play your centre mid. When you have centre backs, play your centre backs. Make it easy for yourself. Do not play multiple players out of position to accommodate another player. It messes up the whole system and it affects you. The reason why Lampard will get sacked is not because of the players. He comes out in the press conference and says it's the players' fault. They need to take account. It's not because of the players. You're the one who puts the players in the wrong position. Look, I'm not saying Werner won't miss chances and hasn't. And look, he's missed crazy amount of chances. Any Chelsea fan who won't admit that he's missed crazy amount of chances is being delusional. He's missed crazy amount of chances. However, look at the one shot. He's lacking confidence, definitely. But look at the one shot he had in that Arsenal game. Where did it come from? The center of the pitch. He wants to be in the center of. He doesn't even look happy there. It's so clear. Like he literally cannot dribble. He cannot pass. So why put a player who plays there in that position? All I will say on Werner is the comparison I always make is imagine you play Jamie Vardy on the left wing. Jamie Vardy is not the best dribbler in the world either. But what he knows how to do is run straight forward to the goal and score and be a poacher in the box. Look at where his goal came from yesterday as a perfect example. That luck can't happen for Werner because he's making runs. This idea that he played on the left for Leipzig, no, it was a different system. He was counter-attacking from the left and directing his way into the middle. It's a different system, and systems are what make games. The reason why Werner's not playing well is because Lampard is implementing a system where Werner has to be a winger. What a winger does is go forward and track back. Werner can't track back and he can't dribble and direct and dribble past his fullback. That's a problem. Pulisic doesn't track back, but what he offers us going forward makes it so that there's balance in the team. You need to play a winger, Hudson-Odoi, obviously. On the flip side, however, the Havertz thing, I understand what you're saying in terms of what's the transfer policy and the players we should have bought. However, look, in my opinion, I'm not against the Havertz signing because when a talent like that becomes available, you have to snap him up. And I think Chelsea are reacting in a way where we don't want to make the mistake of Kevin De Bruyne again. We don't want to have a situation where good players become available. We either let them go to another club or a rival club, or rather than we try and make the best out of them. You might disagree with that. That's fair enough. But for me personally, I would rather have Havertz than leave him for next year when I know Real Madrid Barcelona, maybe teams in a better financial situation will want that player. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's just my opinion. And look, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Everyone's entitled to their own banter. Look, players, what the Chelsea fan base needs to understand is we need to give the players time. The rival fans are there to banter players who are not performing, and they have every right to do that because the same energy we give out is the same energy we should expect to receive. But my point is, with Chelsea, and right now, Lampard needs to make it easy on himself, and that's not what he's doing. And if he gets sacked, it's his fault. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, Roman Abramovich is a silent guy. He sent that little question mark to Marina. He just sent that question mark, that cheeky message on iMessage saying, look, what's going on? Like, I've invested in the club. Like, what is going on right now? Do you get what I'm saying? And for me, like, Lampard just needs to make it easy on himself because now we're going into our next 2 games, Villa and Man City, and it's looking like must-win games now. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's a tough situation for Chelsea right now. I mean, look, as long as I'm not saying we're challenging for the title, but as long as the points gap remains 9 points or however many points it is, we're within reach, innit? Do you get what I'm saying? Everything is so tight. We're still within reach. As bad as the loss was, like, this is what I said. If we're talking in isolation, that loss is one of the worst losses I've seen as a Chelsea fan. However, let's look at the bigger picture and let's not just focus so much on how bad it was. We're still within reach. There's still time to change things. We beat Man City last season. We can beat them again this season. But again, we're not playing well and it needs to change. Things need to change and things need to change quickly. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's my little 2 pence.
Yeah, they need to change really quickly because you're playing Villa tomorrow, and Villa have been one of the informed teams this season. And I'm happy that we actually have a Villa fan here, Dan, who can actually talk about his team. Dan, before I ask you the question, I just have to put it out there. Villa probably gave me, not even probably, Villa gave me the worst moment as a football fan. That 7-2 was... Boy, I was on the group chat. I was just biting on everything. But besides that, Villa have been absolutely, in my opinion, amazing this season. You have, this might be a wild shout, but you have probably the player of the season so far in Jack Grealish. You have probably the best keeper in 2020 in the Premier League in Martinez. You picked up points. You're winning games that you shouldn't be winning. Against Palace, for example, you went down to 10 men after 35 minutes and you absolutely battered them. It should have been 5-6-0. So just tell me about Villa. Like, why have they been so good this season compared to last?
We're a funny team because we've had a lot of games as well where we've barely drawn any games. We've only drawn 1 game this season. We've had a lot of games where we've played really well and then, kind of pulled defeat out the bag. Like we've lost to like Brighton, we've lost to West Ham, but at the same time, we've given thrashings to Liverpool and Arsenal, which is weird. Like never in my life as a Villa fan have I seen that before. There's something happening at that club, right? What's gone on there in terms of Dean Smith, the coaching staff, the transfer policy. This is a perfect example of a team just getting it right. But you have to remember, we stayed up by the skin of our teeth last season, which is crazy. But what's happened is they're gelling now. Those same players that perhaps weren't performing last season, they're performing now. We've got a strong base. We've got a solid defense. Matt Targett's been doing so well. Matty Cash, an example of one of the best signings for us this summer. He's like probably one of the most underrated players in the league. He'll never get in the England team because there's just so much competition at right back. You've got Konza, Mings. They've been solid. Douglas Luiz. I think I said to you guys last year that he was probably like Villa's like best player since the start of lockdown. Just continuing to grow. I don't see a reality where Manchester City don't try to execute that buyback clause. Jack Grealish been brilliant this season. McGinn as well. Bro, I'm not going to go through the entire team, but what I'm saying is every single one of those players in that team has done their job and done their job to a brilliant extent. And it's because we've finally got a manager who says this is the way we're going to play. And these are the perfect players for us to buy to fill in that system. Are we going to finish top 4 though? Nah, unlikely. Yeah, but let's just enjoy it whilst we can. And at the moment, we're playing as well as the best teams in the league. If you look at like who scored, if you look at some of the stats, we're one of the best teams in Europe so far this season. But you just never know. One defeat can set that all off. We're going into one of our toughest runs this season coming up now, basically.
Kojo, you were nodding along to a lot of things Dan was saying. How do you feel about Villa this season? Because they've been very good, and I'm pretty sure they have United next week.
Yeah, I was trying to forget that. Can't lie, because we ain't got them next in it. So let's forget about that. But no, I've been very impressed by them. And what you said about Dean Smith is spot on. Sometimes you just need someone to come in, steady the ship a little bit, which he did. He came up with them. You can see the qualities there bit by bit. The players are allowed to express themselves, but there's also a structure about it as well. That's why you see them play their football. That's why you see them enjoy their football. There's not one player in there that's not enjoying their football. Everyone's happy. Everyone knows what their role is. If you are not starting one game, you know exactly why you're not starting that game. If you're starting the next game, you know exactly why. You know your role when you come off the bench. Everything works perfectly within that team. The setup and the structure is perfect. So the players will thrive. And I generally feel like if they lose 1 or 2 in the bounce, it won't rattle them. They will bounce back and say, let's go for the next game, and they'll win another game. That's the kind of thing that you need. And they're performing highly. Who was it? Was it under Martin O'Neill where you finished quite high, like years ago?
Yeah, it was.
Consistently, yeah.
If they
Bro,
can keep
down in Ashley Young, John Carew, them boys there, man.
Yeah, but you see what happened that season? Was that January came, we needed a striker. Arsenal signed Arshavin, right? This Russian lad, yeah, this mad lad just went off and started scoring goals like there was no tomorrow, yeah. Second coming of like Lionel Messi or whatever, but we signed Emil Heskey that window. It wasn't what we needed, as much as I respect the guy. That's what happened to us that year.
Yeah,
so,
but that's the thing. I feel like I can trust Dean Smith to make a much more sensible signing rather than just going for someone who. And I think back in those days, even if you're doing well, go for that Premier League experience because that always bangs. Apparently, doesn't always bang. So
young and English, isn't it? That was the way to go for like most managers in that period.
Young English or players that have the Premier League know-how, despite the fact that they were part of a relegated side, but they have the know-how to stay up. I don't know. But they're doing well, and long may it continue. I like it. Well, I like a team like Villa. I've admired them since the Milan Baros days. So, you know, if they're going to continue the form, I'll be quite impressed. And they started off the season so well. There's no reason why they can't finish at least top 10 this year. Why not? I mean, they're doing well enough.
We'll finish top 10.
Yeah, finish top 10.
You know, I think the main thing from last season, the main difference is the recruitment. Just solid, just absolutely solid. Ross Barkley was on my transfer list. Yeah, he was the one I wanted Villa to sign. Traore's even coming good. Yeah. We're seeing Matty Cash do an amazing job. Emi Martinez, and let's not forget Ollie Watkins, who is the perfect example of a striker that works his arse off and will always give you a performance even if he's not scoring. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's true. And there's one player that I mentioned him at the start, but I feel like we have to talk about him, Jack Grealish. Even on Saturday, every time I watch Villa, I watch Villa to watch Jack Grealish. He's one of the few players, along with others, which I won't mention, who actually make me excited to watch football. And I feel like this season, maybe we can put Harry Kane up there, Son. He's been one of the best players this season. I'll go to Jide. What are your thoughts on Jack Grealish this season? Because against Arsenal, the way he bodied Bellerin for that third or second goal was a bit nuts. But how do you think of Jack Grealish?
Is that why you went to him?
You see it. This is bullying. But I just want to say, I'm having small Wi-Fi issues. Are you guys hearing me properly, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, cool. So I'd say Jack Grealish, man. What a player. I wanted him when I thought Villa were gonna go down. I was saying to myself, if Arteta wants to start his renaissance, that's the man we need to get. Like, he was number one in my transfer list. If I had my way, that's the guy I wanted. And as you can see this season, for me, he's been the player of the season by far. Like, obviously, we have Kane doing great things and so on, but I feel like they're expected to do that. Sometimes you have to weigh expectations with what's being shown, and Villa were not expected to do this, and 90% of it, in my opinion, is based on how Grealish plays. Like, if you see against Palace, some of the decisions he was making, some of the passes, the way he was just beating his man. He was finding those pockets, finding those spaces, and it just makes football look so enjoyable. And you're just like, this guy is 25 years old. I can't believe he had to fight to get recognition to get into the England squad. Like, it makes no sense. He is such a baller, like champagne footballer. I love watching him play, man. I love watching him play. And what he did to Arsenal, I was like, it hurt me again. But I was like, you know what? Still a bit of me is hoping Villa just do bad, like they go down.
We're not making any friends this season. That's the thing. We really ain't making any friends. That's the thing.
No, but yeah, he's not getting anywhere. But I would love to see him at a big club and him being like the orchestra, and he just has the sort of players that. Imagine him behind Rashford. I know every United fan loves Bruno, the Mr. Pinball machine, but imagine if United had Grealish, who's given Rashford.
I can tell you exactly how it'll go. But if we'll play Rashford through, and then Rashford miss a 1-on-1, but we move.
But yeah, that's my take on Grealish, man. I love the guy as a player. My favorite player right now.
Yeah, same. And Dan B. Grealish has already Meg Van Dijk, embarrassed the whole Liverpool back line, and celebrate how he's playing Chelsea tomorrow. Do you think it's going to be the same thing, or do you think you guys will be able to handle these?
I mean, look, there's certain players that I don't think there's a handling. Do you get what I'm saying? I think Kante can do a job, but I don't think there's necessarily a way you stop Grealish. I think Chelsea's best bet at beating Aston Villa is being able to beat themselves first. Do you get what I'm saying? That Chelsea need to be able to show that we can brush off these poor run of results. Because look, let's not get it twisted. That West Ham win, if you didn't watch football, you'd think we dominated that game. We got peppered in that game. We should have lost, in my opinion. We got peppered for most parts of that game. And then there was just a short 10-minute spell where we got our goals and basically killed off the game. Let's make no mistake about this. Like, Aston Villa are a better attacking side than West Ham. Aston Villa will kill us off if we give them that space, that time, and the room to basically dictate play. We can't be seeing that, and we need to show some sort of maturity, some sort of cool. We've learned from. Look, I just want to see from Lampard just a better lineup. Give your team the best chance of winning. I mean, I was kind of onto him for coming out and saying, Cho's showed what we've been wanting. He's definitely going to start against Villa. Because if Cho has a bad game, he'll be out of the side for the next 2 months. And that's where the consistency doesn't come. Like, I've said it time and time again on so many platforms. Sorry to kind of go off a bit, but I've said it time and time again. Like, I feel a bit disrespected by Lampard because I feel like he's basically telling me and Chelsea fans that we don't know ball by saying that he's playing players based on meritocracy. And then when someone who doesn't deserve a start, because Werner, fair enough, we want Werner up front, but if Werner's not playing up front, I want him out of the team because he's not playing well. He shouldn't be in the team. And based on your meritocracy thing, he shouldn't be in the team. Ziyech, our best player, best creative player, is currently injured, and Cho, who is a winger, cannot even get into the team. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. So for me, it's just about giving your players the best chance. Because I personally think, look, as much as Villa have been good, I do still honestly believe we're the better team. And I think if we play our best, we will beat Villa. But at the same time, if we give it even an inch to Villa, they will run with that. Do you get what I'm saying? The only thing I would say that's good on our side, I think Mings definitely is a huge loss. I think we can expose that because Mings has literally played, I believe, every single game this season as well. So it's not always
up until that point.
Yeah, so it's not always easy for a new centre-back partnership, especially in teams like Villa and all these teams where they lack continuity. I think something to capitalise on. So I'm just expecting to see a better Chelsea and just to bounce back, man. I think this is it could go two ways. This could be the worst time to play Chelsea because we're trying to bounce back. We're trying to be like all this and this. But it could also be the best time to play Chelsea because we're obviously low in confidence right now. So it's literally a flip of a coin.
And Dan R, do you think you will continue your big game record, or how do you feel tomorrow's game will go? And that's also a bit bad. Why, like, Chelsea played yesterday and they're playing tomorrow. So did you, and you're playing tomorrow. But we'll leave that. We'll leave that.
Just don't ask Jurgen Klopp that question, innit? Like, he's got off. I'm sure we're calm about it, but yeah, no, I think it's gonna be an interesting one. Look, as you say, Ming's out. It's a big loss, but also I believe in Courtney House. Yeah, he makes good music too. By the way, you should check out his stuff. He's
Plugging his music, I like that.
No, just saying, it's good. It's good stuff. Good stuff. So we've got this R&B dude at the back. Yeah, we've got Ezri Konsa, who does not get the plaudits he deserves. I like him a lot, just like I liked Twanzibi when he was at Villa. You know, another one of these underappreciated centre backs who nobody dribbles past that guy. I think he's. I don't know if this is true or if this is still true or not, but I think he's one of the only defenders in the entire league that hasn't been dribbled past this season, which is crazy. But look, Villa have weaknesses. One of the things one of the issues with Villa is a lot of the time they start off quite jet lagged. They look a little bit jet lagged at the start. If Chelsea can come in, score a goal early on, then there's a high chance they can kill Villa off, because Villa get frustrated at that point because they go 10, 20, 30 minutes without scoring a goal, and it almost looks like you don't know where it's going to come from. So I think for Villa, it's going to have to be a case of, keeping that intensity up, keeping that focus up. There's no reason why we can't beat Chelsea. But look, Kovacic and Kante, if they're playing in that midfield, if they're gonna stop sort of Jack Grealish, Anwar El Ghazi, Burton Traore from playing. Don't forget, we haven't got Ross Barkley available to play because, he's a lone player from Chelsea. Then Villa will struggle, especially against teams that are solid at the back. And look, defensively, Chelsea, they have the facilities for that.
Well, me personally, I'm looking forward to that game. I think it's going to be a cracker. Hopefully, it's a good, high-scoring draw, but let's see what happens.
Don't bank on it. I'm saying it's going to be. I'm saying 1-1 or 0-0. That's what I'm thinking at the moment.
Oof. If it's 0-0, I'll be very annoyed.
It will not be 0-0. I can agree with that.
Well, I feel like the next best place to go is the early kickoff that happened on Boxing Day between United and Leicester. I thought that was a very, very good start to the festive football games. As a neutral, I thought it was a very, very good game to watch. Both teams went for it. I thought towards the end, United should have held on, but I'm not the United fan. Kojo, how do you feel the game went?
You literally said exactly how I felt. We should have held on. That was the most jarring draw that we've had in a while, because the goals that we gave away, in my opinion, were goals that we shouldn't have given away. Credit to Barnes for a nice hit, but Bruno Fernandes giving the ball away unnecessarily in an area where the ball was really cleared away. People are blaming Maguire. Listen, anyone that's listened to this show, I do not like that big head fridge ferry guy at all.
I love Maguire, man. Why is Maguire catching strays?
No. I'm just cussing him out because I don't like him. But that, in general,
Do you know, this guy just came in to compliment Maguire. Yeah, he just came in to defend the guy, and in the process, he's just slagged him off, man. What's going on?
But he was catching heat for that. I was like, he's cleared the ball out to his teammate, so he's done his job. Bruno loses the ball. McTominay should have closed down Barnes, in my opinion. Nice hit, goal. And then the second one as well, you've got Bailly and Twanzebe, who have Vardy directly in between them. Twanzebe can see him. Bailly looks back, saw him, and completely ignored him afterwards. I'm just thinking, I always say know your opponent, but this guy is known by everyone. So surely you should know that it's the biggest danger. And if the ball's coming in, it's going to one person only. So you have to do everything in your power to stop it. Didn't do that. We did everything we should have done to win the game, apart from kill it off. Rashford missed header. Rashford one-on-one straight at the goalkeeper. I mean, it's stuff like that that's going to cost you games, going to cost you points. So, I've already been told, look, Liverpool dropped points. So in hindsight, it's not this and this. I don't care about Liverpool dropping points.
Thank you, man. For
me, that actually makes it worse, because United have not been in a title race. And I'm saying title race because we're in the round right now, isn't it?
No, you're in the title race.
But United,
if you're in the title race, then we are.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
That's a good point.
But United are near enough Liverpool with a game in hand on top of that, right? And if Liverpool are going to drop points, the one thing that you need to do is win. So the fact that they drop points doesn't mean anything to me, because what it means to me is if you had done your job and got those 3 points, you would have been closer with your game in hand your opportunity to go
Sorry,
on top of them.
Sorry to interrupt, and that's exactly the point I keep making. I keep hearing this thing about, but other teams are dropping points. I don't care if other teams are dropping points. I care about what my team is doing on a game week to game week basis. And if we are dropping points, it means we are not doing our job. I'm not saying we need to be the invincibles and not lose. You lose games, it happens, but it's how you lose games and how many times you're losing games. Bro, we're losing too many games. We're dropping points too many times. The league is so volatile right now that I don't even care that there's the possibility of losing. I just want my team to do the best. And it's the fact that I can clearly see what the problem is. If there was a situation where, look, we're playing everyone in the right position, we've been playing fluid football, we're creating so many chances, but we're still dropping points, then we're like, all right, cool, I don't really know what the problem is. But we can see clear problems in all our teams, and the same mistakes keep being made. For United fans, I can't imagine how angry they must be in the fact that their team could literally go and score and literally go and concede literally a minute after. Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. Like Leicester, yeah. You know Leicester. I personally think Leicester didn't even play well. But Leicester literally changed gears every time United scored. That's what happened.
Can I just say something though? Can I just say it, right? Look, Leicester are the kind of team that force an issue. You know, they're a very good team. Yeah. If they're down, you know, there's always that chance of them coming back and getting a draw. Look, a draw at Leicester is not a bad result. United have been getting results, man. They've been grinding them out.
But bro, do you know why it felt like a bad result? It's because we had the game in our hands.
Sure.
It feels like we've gifted them the goal. And the thing is, yeah, I don't firmly believe we're in the title race in the sense that if we're in around first, second by March, then I'll say, oh wait, hold on. Okay, now I can actually believe that we're in some sort of race. But I don't trust this United side. But mathematically, we're there right now. So I don't want it to be a situation where, let's say, we go on to win games and we get loads of W's, but then Liverpool do the same thing and Liverpool win the title, and we feel like how because Liverpool did what they had to do when City won the league on 98 points. Liverpool winning games. Unfortunately for them, so was City. But Liverpool can look back and say maybe 1 or 2 draws over here, like the 0-0 draw with us. They should have smacked us in that game, and they could have won the title off that win. So I don't want to be in that same situation. That's why I don't want to hear about they drop points, because if you do your job and win games, you don't have to care about what everybody else is doing, because you're doing exactly what you need to do. So now you're in this position, you've got the game in hand on Liverpool. If you win it, that's 2 points. Luckily for you, they draw. You're very lucky. But now you're in a situation where you're going to go and play them at Anfield, and you still got them to come to Old Trafford. So I just want the team to bounce back from this game. We've got Wolves next. That's going to be another dodgy game, because our record against Wolves is here and there. Lots of draws. They score a lot of bangers against us, so we need to be on point with that. So, and
Wolves are also a tough team to play against this season.
So, you know, as for this game, I was just frustrated, man. And I've had people trying to tell me, you know, about this player did this and this player. Me personally, I really don't. I want to swear, but I'm not going to swear. I don't give 2 bleeps. Do your job and win games. Simple as that. They didn't do that. They should have won the game. Rashford should have scored twice. Martial, to be honest, I already said it on the show. I'm not going to say it again. And they got to defend better than that. Lindelof is also out now. And Lindelof has been our best performing centre-back this season. So now we need someone to step up. Will it be Bailly? Could be. But then again, Black's getting injured. Could it be Tuanzebe? I don't know. You know what I mean? So let's see. And I do not. But I'm saying this. I'm saying I do not repeatedly, because I'm feeling like, what's that guy's name? The black guy that doesn't like white people at all.
Uma Johnson.
Yeah, Dr. Uma. Yeah. Listen, if I see Timothy Fosu-Mensah in that defense,
he still plays for you.
It's over.
Yeah, he still plays.
If he came on, he got a contract. Yeah. You see my face. I would have switched, so I was smiling. He got a contract.
He's one of them players that you imagine is like on loan in the Championship for. Most of his career.
I wish it was sold in the Championship. But we have to just win the next game. It's as simple as that. I don't want to harp on too much. Win the next game and then forget about this one. Just keep it going now. So that's it.
Now that's fair enough. There's one thing I wanted to get your opinion on. After the game, I was having a discussion with one of my friends about Bruno Fernandes. He was of the opinion that even though he scored and assisted, that people should be getting onto him for what he did for Leicester's first goal, because he does that a lot. I've said that, that was poor. You shouldn't be trying to mega player in your own half. But if you're scoring goals or assisting that frequently, you can get a pass. So I wanted to get your opinion on that. Should Bruno be allowed to get a pass for taking risk, or should he try and keep it safe more time?
No, he shouldn't. He shouldn't get a pass. The fact is, the ball was gone, and he had ample time to turn around and find a better option. The fact that I don't mind you trying to beat a player, because if you beat him, we'll be like, oh wow, he not making got past him. But the fact is that he didn't. So no if, buts, and maybes. The fact is, you gave the ball away, and it led to a goal. I can sit here and also say, listen, Scott McTominay could have closed down Barnes better, like I said before. So that could have stopped the goal, but that situation shouldn't have happened in the first place after the ball's been cleared. So, yeah, he is scoring, he is assisting. You've seen me say it before. He's done that before whilst in games dropping absolute stinkers. But the fact is, in this era where everyone loves numbers and all that, I don't know why they want to, there's no need for a pass. In my opinion, he made a mistake. He has to learn from it. Very simple. There's not one player in football that doesn't make a mistake. So, you can call him for it, because I'm going to say this right now. I know it's repetitive, but if it was someone else, you know what would be happening. You know exactly what would be happening. So give him the heat, because he deserved it. It was a poor decision, and he knows it himself, because he looked disappointed with himself straight away. So there's no need to protect him. Protect him for what?
That's fair enough. Dan B, Dan R, do you agree with Kojo?
Go on, Dan. You can go first if you want.
Definitely not giving a pass. I mean, him making a mistake in his box has nothing to do with his output at the other end of the pitch. You get what I'm saying? I mean, he can still be a person who takes risks, but be a person who keeps it simple in his own area. Like, both can be true. You get what I'm saying? So the pass thing makes no sense. Because he's a risk taker. Look, he's a risk taker when it comes to making final balls, not a risk taker when it comes to playing balls or doing nutmegs. Look, Pogba. I'm not afraid to say it. Pogba would have got ripped to shreds. Would have just been another thing for the Pogba out merchants to say about Pogba. Do you get what I'm saying? Look, I mean, for me, a word on Bruno. Look, I just finished recording. Look, I said, look, he's player of 2020 for me personally, and I think he's the best player in the league. Look, I understand KDB, a great player, all of this and that. I just think his standards have dropped just a bit. And in dropping the standards just a bit, I think Bruno has come leaps and bounds. The fact that since he's come to Man United have scored about in and around 60 goals. He's accountable for over half of them. Yeah. That is crazy. And then you've got his stats this season: 14 games, 10 goals, 6 assists. His goal involvements are crazy. He could easily be a 20 and 10 guy, 20 and 15 guy, year in, year out. Do you get what I'm saying? And what scares me even more about him is that he's 26. He's arguably not even in his prime yet. So that's the scary thing. If Man United build well, especially defensively, going forward, they're never going to have an issue, because they've got someone who's willing to to create. Basically, I say this time and time again. I am chance creation over ball retention every day of the week, and that's what Bruno.
I love this guy.
That's what Bruno does for me. I like him so much. Obviously, there's bantering guys, but bro, he is a top player, and what he has done in terms of his impact on the club, he's one player I'll take in an instant, without even thinking about it. No question asked. Take him straight away.
I think whoever doesn't take Bruno is on drugs, because
100%.
Like you said, I have to apologize, because when I saw about player of the season, Bruno completely missed my mind. But he's definitely up there, and if he wins player of the season this year, I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all. He's just been phenomenal this year. How about you, Dan? What are your thoughts on Bruno?
Oh, look, as a player, he's fantastic. Yeah, he's great. I think we said this before. He completely transformed Manchester United. He was that star player they needed to come in, right? Their KDB, their Son or Kane, yeah, or their Jack Grealish, if I'm trying to go off. But he's that player though that you look at teams like Arsenal and Chelsea, and they're missing that, aren't they? A guy who walks onto that pitch and goes, you know what? Yeah, this game's gonna be about me. Yeah, I'm gonna be the guy that runs things, and that's what Fernandes has. But going back to that mistake, those moments decide games, and when you're 2-1 up, you don't want to be doing that. I've gotten on the backs of certain Villa players for doing similar things like that. Look, I love Tyrone Mings. He's a fantastic defender, but particularly earlier on in the season, doing things like trying to dribble past players in your own half when there's nobody behind you, or like trying to pass. Villa did that. Other Villa players did that as well this season. I don't like it. Sometimes you just got to get rid. They've improved on that recently. Maybe that's something that Ollie needs to work on in training, where he says, look, I know you guys are confident on the ball, but when it gets to 88th, 89th minute or whatever, don't do that. Err on the side of caution. And that's something that you struggle to do when you've got creative players that good who believe in themselves and have that kind of confidence. That's what I'd have to say on that. And I think that comes into it when you got players like him who haven't perhaps been in the team that long. I think it will get better over time, and those kinds of mistakes they inevitably do go away. So that's what I have to say about that.
Well, that's fair enough. Before we leave, me personally, I didn't want to touch on it, but since it was a shock result, in my opinion, I think Mike knows where I'm going. Liverpool versus West Brom. Me personally, going into the game, I didn't think it was going to be an easy game, but I didn't think we were going to draw. But Big Sam has come and done it again. That's his fourth different team he's taken to Anfield, and he hasn't lost against Jurgen Klopp. That is a very, very impressive result for him and West Brom. Mike, do you think that result has an impact on how the season will go for Liverpool? Because people might say it's a one-off, but they've drawn with Fulham, who are in the same region as West Brom. They've drawn with Brighton, who are also in the same region. They beat Sheffield United, but it's not as if they spanked them. It was a very, very close game. So do you think that this result and the result we've been seeing with Liverpool against a smaller team might continue into the season, or do you think they'll be fine as the season goes on?
I think what the problem with Liverpool is Liverpool are becoming complacent. They've become very complacent. I think in these games where you really should be taking charge, you control the ball a lot, but I feel like teams are now, I was saying before the podcast started, I was annoyed about how easy your first goal was, despite it being a nice goal. But I think once teams get their structure right, it's quite not easy. It's never easy to play against Liverpool, but they kind of know what to do to try and stifle you and to regulate how many goals you can score. And the fact is this: I said, I think 2 years ago, that you might have the same problem that Brendan Rodgers had. Now, Brendan Rodgers didn't lead to a league title, but his team could score goals. Your team's better defensively now, but even back then, teams would find a way to just try and stifle, not play too hard against you, and then try and find that sneaky goal, and then boom, hit you, and it's done for them. And they're good with their point, or if they can sneak a win, they go with it and they run off. And I feel like that's what teams are starting to do with Liverpool now. That's the thing that you got to just firm as champions. When you've won the league and you're now seen as the best team in the league, you now need to be able to now find ways to score against these teams. You're whipping the ball in a lot. It should not have taken so long, in my opinion, for Divock Origi to come onto the pitch. I think it should have come on earlier. When you're whipping more balls in, give a bit more trouble. He had 5 minutes to try and make something out of nothing. Didn't work. But is it a one-off? No, it's not a one-off, because as you said, Fulham. And obviously, Daniel, thank you very much for that, lovely result earlier. So it's not a one-off, but you guys do need to wake up. You need to wake up quick, because they started giving you a bit of a scare when Curlin Grant maybe should have scored when he's not kind of like a one-on-one situation against Alisson. And then lovely header, by the way, by Ajayi. So yeah, you guys just need to be careful. You win a lot of games, but you will drop a lot of points also. And it's not going to be the 90s. I don't think it's going to be like that this year. I don't think that you guys will be that clear. So
Nah, I don't like even high 80s. I think it would be hard for a team to touch high 80s, because the amount of points teams are dropping this season is beyond ridiculous. Dan B, what are your thoughts on the game today, and just Liverpool just dropping all these silly points against teams they really shouldn't be dropping points against?
I just think it's a reflection of the season. I mean, I've said that Liverpool, are still the world alongside Bayern Munich. There's only 2 elite clubs in the world for me, and it's them two. And I think it's just a reflection of the crazy season that we're currently in. Like Liverpool being able to drop points, yet I still think they're a bit too far ahead for the injuries they've had and everything that's happened. That just shows how bad the season has been. Do you get what I'm saying? So it just shows how good again Liverpool are. Look, I'm a huge, and it's kind of the parallel. I hate when I see people compare the process of Liverpool's to Man United's and Chelsea. People say, but Klopp got given time. And Klopp has played players in different positions. The reason why Klopp can play players in a different position is because the system that he implements allows different players to just literally fit in straight away. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's totally different to what everyone else is doing. I can guarantee you, as in 100% guarantee you, if Timo Werner was playing on the wing for Liverpool, he wouldn't be having any issues. Maybe he'd be having efficiency issues, but he'd be scoring and putting up a lot more numbers than he's putting up now. And that's because of the role that he's playing and the system that he's in. So for me, Liverpool have nothing to worry about. I guess the biggest thing against Liverpool is complacency, innit? And it's games like today at home to West Brom. I mean, everyone, I think I saw a stat here. They broke the record of most triple captains in a fantasy PL league. everyone triple captain Salah.
Yeah,
I even captained him. I captained him. It's like everyone expected this to be like a 5-0. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's nothing to worry about. Really and truly, when Liverpool should start getting worried is when teams are in and around them, maybe it's free. Look, I still think Liverpool will win the league quite comfortably.
Yeah.
Annoyingly so. Annoying as it is to admit that, but at the same time, I mean, Liverpool also cannot be complacent because all it takes is a team to pick up a run of games and they're still dropping points. And then, I mean, I think United can actually go above Liverpool if they win all their games, including the game.
Within 2 points. 2
points. All right, cool. So you just never know. Aren't Liverpool playing United soon, or is that further down the line?
Soon. It's our next home game.
So if United and Liverpool, or if United win all their games, Liverpool win their game to that point, that's a big game. That's a big game.
That's a very big game. And if we lose that game, you man won't see me on the pod. But Daniel,
I'll be hosting that one. Don't worry.
Yeah, you'll be hosting. I won't be watching. You won't find me. Daniel, you seem to agree with Daniel B. Say when he said Liverpool win the league. So I'm guessing you also feel that Liverpool fans, me, shouldn't be worried. Because I won't lie. When I watched today, when I was looking at it, I was like, this is becoming too much of a pattern for my liking.
Look, I think there's obvious weaknesses, and the obvious weaknesses are that there are some inexperienced players being called into the team. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, yeah. Some of these players probably would have never got the chance to develop if things didn't happen the way that they did this season. I mean, just looking ahead long term. That being said, maybe Klopp brings in another centre back in January. You know, maybe he brings in another midfielder on, I don't know, even if it's on loan, or another young midfielder to come in and play instead of Curtis Jones, for example. I don't know, yeah. But look, Liverpool, they're performing ridiculously well for a team that is supposedly going through an injury crisis. I haven't heard a manager moan more this season than Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp's been hard done by, but Liverpool are still top of the table. They're still getting wins. So what? You have a draw to West Brom. So what? You get a point against Fulham. That happens, man. Teams come and they play for a draw, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes Mane can't fight through like 8 defenders in the box to get his goal. You know, sometimes that space isn't available and it's difficult, and you have to grind. And you know, sometimes you have games like Palace where a team says, you know what, we're going to attack you, whilst leaving themselves completely open. But things are a little bit different this season. Teams have perhaps figured out a little bit of what Liverpool are doing. Maybe Liverpool are a little bit tired. The way that Klopp plays or wants his players to play, they got to run their asses off for the entire season. That makes things difficult. Sure they do. But for now, the fact that they're in the title race, the fact that they're top of the table at the moment, that's cool. I don't think you guys need to worry if you don't win the title this season. You know, you won it last year in what was mostly a normal season up until whatever point. Now we're kind of having a full COVID season. You know, there's nobody at home to kind of give those players an extra push at Anfield. There's a lot of factors at play here. And for what is a crazy season, for you to be one of the teams that, you know, there's not that many teams out there who are going to look at their teams and go, you know what, we are playing so well this season. Arsenal are talking about problems. Man City are talking about problems. Chelsea are talking about problems. United are talking about problems. What are Liverpool talking about? we're having to fix issues, we're having to plug some holes because a couple of our players have been injured, yet you're still going out there and getting points. That's the way that I see it with Liverpool at the moment. There's no issue, there's no crisis, so to speak, that I see.
As long as that forward line stays healthy, there's no problem. Yeah, they lost Van Dijk, they lost Gomez, but they've got enough goals in them to slap teams. That's the thing, and that's why I was disappointed with them today, because I feel like in that first half they should have just ran ragged on them. And then if you want to be flat in the second half, does it really matter? No, because West Brom were never going to score more than one at your stadium anyway. But you didn't put them away, and because you didn't put them away, they got their one that got them the draw. So you just got to get back to your commanding self. But me personally, you keep doing this so that when we come to your turf, we can get some points as well. You know what I'm saying? You keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing.
Well, on that note, I'm not going to respond to that because we'll be here for another hour. But guys, that's been another episode of FS Uncut. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us, and see you next week.